Next topic I wanted to discuss with y'all, like I said, potential. I've been getting some different reactions. Some agree, some don't agree on how I judge my potential. Some people see it as overhyping, but again, like I said, I know my levels. I know my levels on how I rate fighters and pick out what I like about fighters and when I can say a fighter is promising. So I'm going to use the triple threat as an example. Manon Fiorot, Taila Santos, and Miranda Maverick here. Talked about it in live stream the other night no, it's not another night, but it's maybe like a week or two ago. I was talking potential and hype because some people think I'm hyping Miranda Maverick up, where no, I'm just saying she's one of the best on her tiers. So for me, potential is, like I said, like if I was a teacher, if I'm a first grade teacher, right, and I have two students, one first grader is reading at like a fifth grade level, right? And the other one one's reading at a first grade level, and let's say 6-7 months later, the one that's reading at the fifth grade level, he advances even higher to the seventh grade level. But the other kid, he continues to stay at the first grade level, and even has trouble with the first grade level, right? He's even having trouble with that level. And I'm just using this example because as somebody who trains people at work and oversees other workers as a lead, I see this type of this behavior with adults, but I'm just using kids here because I have guys that have high work ethic and advanced, but then I have some people who just stay the same, or they actually regress. They actually regress, or they still struggle with the level they're supposed to be on. So I see it the same way with these fighters. Okay, so when we compare somebody like Miranda Maverick, that's on the lower tier right now, the third tier, the third and the /4th tier, versus somebody like Montana De La Rosa, I see more potential in a fighter like Miranda versus Montana because she's looking good on this level. She's outclassing and she's winning. She's not struggling. She's winning. She's beating Liana Jojua, she's beating the Jillian Robertson, and she's looking like she belongs on a higher level. Because she's showcasing these tools that make you say, okay, it's time to take these tools to the next level. Same like with the kid with the fifth grade reading level. Like, I'm not saying the kid with the fifth grade reading level is ready to skip every other grade and go straight to high school or be valedictorian. No, I'm just saying, okay, with that type of potential, we can help him build that work ethic and help him advance even higher and keep testing those skills each time. You know what I mean? Like, we know since he's at the fifth grade level in the first grade, he's got those tools that can take him 4 grades higher, right? But from there, he's still going to have to work. Same like with Miranda. Like, I'm saying Miranda looks better than most of these 3rd, 4th tier fighters, but when she gets to that next level, she's still going to have to work. But she does have those tools that's going to help her put up a good fight, if that makes sense to y'all. See, whereas Montana De La Rosa, she's young. She has a lot of room for growth. She has guts and she's tough, but I've seen a lot from her to be able to rate her and say, okay, she's not on this triple threat level, because we've seen her, get some good wins, get some finishes in the UFC, but it's still on the same level. She's been on the same level since the birth of the flyweight division, right? And that's been for 4 years, where Miranda Maverick in this 6, 7, 8 months, well, almost going on a year now, she's already beat the level of fighters that she's on, and she's ready for the Macy Barber now, right? She's ready for that opponent one level above her. And the same goes with Manon Fiorot. Like I said, Manon Fiorot, I'm not saying she's hype. I'm not saying she's the best. I'm not hyping her up to a level she shouldn't be at, but Manon Fiorot does look good. And you do have to base that off of her wins outside of the UFC. Like, the UFC does have some of the highest, best fighters out there, but you still have to go back and look at their work, like the groundwork they laid. Like, it was their tools are built off of something, right? Manon Fiorot's skill set was developed. It was developed throughout her other her fights through other organizations. So you have to look at that. you have to look at all of that, and you still have to rate that to say, okay, she can be a killer in the flyweight division. She has that skill set to beat some of these fighters on the level that she's on. You know, I know that Tabitha Ricci fight was a big mismatch, but a lot of people felt Victoria Leonardo was going to beat Manon Fiorot. But, you know, I called that. I said, no, man, like, Manon Fiorot's got the skills. She's got the offense. Look how she, you know, keeps her poise, how she picks her shots, how she can walk you down. Look how she, you know, delivers her power, how she turns those kicks over. You know, you see her doing some things that don't look green on her level. Like, you see her looking better than Montana De La Rosa based off of that one fight. And then you can even factor in the Tabitha Ricci fight. Like, she's looking better than that fighter, even though, you know, even though we can say she hasn't fought as many opponents. You know, even though she hasn't fought as many fighters in the UFC than Montana De La Rosa. Then we could argue that some of the opponents that Manon Fiorot fought outside of the UFC could be better than Montana De La Rosa's opponents, because Montana, the fighters she did beat, are no longer in the UFC, right? Yeah, so I'm just looking at these fighters like her, Taila Santos. They carry themselves with, you know, with discipline, with IQ, and with a very, very what's the word I'm looking for about their skill set? They're developing. They show advanced skills. Let's put it that way. Like, what you see in like Manon Fiorot, you don't really see in like a Montana De La Rosa, or even like a Jillian Robertson, or like a Liana Jojua. The skill sets they show look like some of the top fighters, but I'm not, you know, I'm saying it looks like. I'm not saying that they're ready for that. They still got to go through. They still got to go through the gauntlet like everybody else. They got to go through the 4th tier, the 3rd tier, the 2nd tier, and so on, you know. But sometimes somebody will advance faster. You know, if she blows fighters out in the 3rd tier quick, then it's time to say, what would she look like against so-and-so? You know what I mean? Like, okay, let's say Manon Fiorot blows out Mayra Bueno Silva, and she looks good. No sense in holding her back, right? There's no sense in holding her back. We'll go ahead and say, okay, she destroys her. Let's see what she looks like against Andrea Lee, right? Blows out Andrea Lee. Oh, wow. Let's see what she looks like against Jennifer Maia, right? And then when you break into that top 10, you destroy Jennifer Maia, or you look good beating Jennifer Maia. Then you go in there and you fight those elites at flyweight, Caitlin Chikagian and Jessica Andrade. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I'm saying. That's the only thing I'm really trying to break down about what their potential looks like. You know, they show that type of potential, but they also show advanced skills. You know, they show some advanced skills just off of that eye test, you know, where, again, it is about what we have seen and what we haven't seen with Montana, what we have seen and what we haven't seen with Manon Fiorot, but then it's about what we have had a chance to see from a fighter like Montana De La Rosa. See, we've seen what she looks like. We've seen her weaknesses. We've seen her struggle, and she's still on this level. You know, but Manon Fiorot, Taila Santos, their skill sets look so much better, and, you know, they're carrying themselves in a different way. Like, they continue to develop and grow. You know, that's just something you're going to just have to catch over the next few days, or excuse me, the next few months and year or so, to see really what I mean. Like, I'm just have to keep breaking it down for y'all every time and just say, hey, look, this is what I see in potential. Like, when I first seen Montana De La Rosa in the Tough House, you know, I seen a few of her fights before the Tough House, but then I saw her in the Tough House, and I was like, okay, I see some things here she's gonna have to really work on. Then after that, after the Tough House, I seen her in a few more fights. You know, I seen her in Rachel Ostovich. I seen her step her game up against top tier flyweights. You know, the better was like Andrea Lee. She still came up short. I was like, okay, she's looking tough, she's looking dangerous, but I'm not seeing that developing skill set, that advanced skill set that makes us say she's trying to be more than tough. She's trying to outclass her opponent. She's looking for those adjustments. I didn't see that. I saw it in Andrea Lee in that fight. That's why Andrea Lee won. So then Montana De La Rosa, she goes off and beats, I can't remember who else she beat after the Andrea Lee fight, beats that person, steps her game up against Viviane Araújo again. Viviane Araújo, she showed that skill set, Boom, Vivian Araujo wins the fight. Once again, Andrea, once again, she goes off, fights Ariane Lipski. That's a level of opponent, but you know, what's that say? You know, Ariane Lipski's on that lower level, right? So it's not enough. It's still not enough to say she's a big threat. Like, she's tough and she's dangerous, but she's not really part of this triple threat that I see in Taila Santos. You know, Taila Santos, strong, growing in stand up, the ground, very strong, athletic. Just needs that top 10 fighter right now. You know, so many people have been pulling out of fights with her, but she's a very dangerous fighter. You know, she's very good with that offense. You know, I've seen a lot of her past fights, you know, again, basing it all on her MMA career, not just looking at the UFC career. I'm looking at everything she's doing. There's promise there. There's potential there. She's not struggling on that lower level. Same with Manon Fiorot, again, the tool set. Miranda Maverick, the fighters that she's beat, the vets she's beat, from Deanna Bennett to Victoria Leonardo to Pearl Gonzalez to now Jo Jua to Jillian Robertson. There's IQ there. Like, I see something out of all three of these fighters that's dangerous, you know, whether it be the IQ, the killer instinct in these fighters, or just the overall discipline, you know, which all three of them carry. You know, there's something big in there that make me say, okay, they can weed out some of the older top 10 flyweights, and eventually they will challenge the champion. Not saying they can beat Valentina Shevchenko yet, but they have that potential to take over this top 10. You know, so yeah, man, I mean, Miranda Maverick has a fight coming up in a few weeks with Macy Barber. Then Manon Fiorot has Mayra Buena Silva. Of course, Taila Santos has Mandy Boehm, but she still needs somebody, man. They need to get her a real opponent. Like, Mandy Boehm, no knock to her, but her coming in from Bellator as an unranked opponent, Taila needs that top 10 opponent. She does. But yeah, man, like I said, this is something we'll talk about over and over. I'm going to talk about triple threat more and more, and just potential. But that's how I feel about this situation. You know, like I said, a lot of people disagree. I see IQ in Miranda Maverick, and IQ will get you far. Like, some people say, oh, I don't see the best. I don't see her grappling skills. She's not a good striker, but she's smart. She knows when to do what to do. So IQ will win you a fight more before your power, or just focusing basically on grappling. It's what you do with the grappling, how you use the grappling, when it's time to use the striking, and all of that, man. Put it together. So yeah, guys, what do y'all think in the comment section? Let's talk about it.